Hello and welcome back to 20-somethings TV Hot Topics. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts, Morgan, Jonah, and Abby. Our first topic today is James Cameron, who just had a massive comeback with a sequel to Avatar, The Way of Water. Check out this interview clip.
I've always just followed a rule of give the audience what they think they want from their enjoyment of the first film, because the sequel only is merited when the first film was a success, which means that people liked what they were seeing. Don't betray what they liked, but surprise them in ways that ultimately are perceived as positive surprises. Make the Terminator the good guy. You know, things like that.
Come with me if you want to live.
There's so many epic directors today, Spielberg, George Lucas, Robert Altman. What makes James Cameron the box office king? Like, what about his films appeal to you or like these massive audiences?
Well, I think one big aspect of it is he has a way of conveying really high concepts. If you were to hear the concept of any of these films, you would think that makes no sense. It's a flop. But somehow as a director, he's able to communicate these in a way that wide audiences can enjoy. I mean, you think about Terminator 2. This kid travels back in time to make sure his mom meets her dad, who's actually like a robot. That makes no sense. It's one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah.
Titanic, we're going to make this multi-million dollar movie about a ship that we all know crashes at the end, and it's going to become the highest grossing movie of all time. You try and explain to someone on the street the plot of Avatar. What? Grossed $2 billion, and I think that's the James Cameron magic.
Okay.
Well, I think the Titanic wasn't that far-fetched. I mean, everyone knew it happened, but they just made it a love story. I don't think you can compare the plot to the Titanic to Avatar and people be like, what? The Titanic? I had no idea about that. I feel like that was it was handed to him on a platter, make it a love story. Put Leonardo DiCaprio in there. We have a hit.
I think that's a fair point, but if you tried to pitch it to a studio, we're going to make a movie about this tragedy. It's 3 hours long. Here you go.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of where he's coming from. Yeah, the idea is there, but the execution is how it actually is good. I feel like there's a lot of tragedies that you wouldn't think, oh, let's make a movie about this, but he did it in a way that works really well and is really intriguing to a lot of people.
Yeah,
he has movies about tragedies.
Not all of them hits. The movie about the Hindenburg from the 70s.
Okay, that's such a specific example.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly, but if James Cameron made a movie about the Hindenburg,
it would probably
be
a massive
grossing films of all time.
In fact, he has 3 out of the top 4 most highest grossing movies of all time. Avatar 1 at number 1, Avatar: The Way of Water at number 3, and Titanic at number 4.
Incredible.
It's I think it's a matter of being at the right place at the right time. Avatar 1, obviously, it was technologically groundbreaking. Avatar 2, he did the same thing. It's incredible. It's it's probably the greatest visual experience you could have watching a movie, just in general. And then Titanic, he made a 3-hour movie with the biggest movie star in the world. It's like the perfect blend.
Yeah, so it was right there for him.
It was, yeah.
It was right there. Okay.
It was like a.
You put Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio together.
Okay, but some about maybe his other hits.
No ticket sales? I don't believe that.
Think about his other hits, like True Lies, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as a romantic lead, and
I've heard some things about that movie.
You have?
Yep.
How about you share them?
There's a little controversy. Keith Brown shared this with me earlier.
Really?
We can save that. We can save that for another show.
My mom was a PA on that.
Was she?
Yep.
Are there any directors today that you think could reach these heights? Any that come to mind?
Well, it really depends on how we define these heights. In terms of James Cameron, Avatar was based on a dream he had when he was 19.
Sure.
I think Jordan Peele just made Nope, a movie based on a dream he had, which incredibly high concept. The way he was able to execute that in a way that connected with the audience was really incredible.
Yeah.
Of course, that didn't make $3 billion, though. So in terms of creative freedom, we have some directors like James Cameron, but none of them are really producing the same results he is.
I'd have to agree. I don't think anyone could.
Yeah,
straight up.
People should make longer movies.
It's true. When you see 3
Better
hours,
make them so long and split them up into episodes and put them on HBO Max. That's what I say.
I hate that.
Elaborate on that.
TV is bad.
Oh, there you have it.
Wait, what is this?
Whoa.
What am I on right now? Never mind. Sorry. I love television. Keith Brown's 20-somethings is better than movies.
You heard it here first. While Titanic and Avatar: The Way of Water continue to dominate the box office, The Way of Water has found itself onto the head of a Florida man's elderly older brother. He faces jail time for aggravated assault. Yes, you heard that right. Here's an excerpt from the article on the case written by the website Law and Crime. A 64-year-old man in Florida is facing multiple decades in prison as well as thousands of dollars in fines for dumping 2 glasses of water on his older brother during an argument over some key lime pie the older man was saving. The article goes on to specify the charges by saying David Sherman Powelson was taken into custody on Wednesday and charged with 1 count of first-degree felony aggravated battery on a person of 65 years of age or older. Court records reviewed by the Law and Crime show. Under Florida state law, an individual convicted of a first-degree felony faces up to 30 years in state prison and a maximum fine of $1,000. Thoughts?
Typical of the American prison system, am I right? I'm kidding. What show am I on? Sorry.
Did you have that one in your back pocket?
Is this punishment too extreme, or is this a W for the Florida justice system?
Well, the Florida justice.
I mean, I feel like I've dumped water on people before. You know, I am not in jail for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
If Florida saw the ALS ice bucket challenge,
oh God.
ooh, I wouldn't be here today
Oh,
if I lived in Florida.
It's a rough way to
okay,
go.
right. A lot of slander about Florida. Abigail.
I love Florida.
In general, like if think of it this way: what if your younger brother dumped 2 glasses of water on your head for such a mundane argument? What would your reaction be? What do you think you would do?
Assume.
I mean, like, I don't think I would press charges.
You wouldn't press charges?
No. Maybe yell at him a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't think he needs to spend 30 years in jail.
Does it reach a level of absurdity where you're no longer mad? Like the prank becomes so bizarre that you have no option but to laugh?
I feel like maybe it is a prank. Like he is like putting these charges on him, like figure it out. I feel like if it happened to me,
Tough prank.
it's a tough prank. It's like a Dumb and Dumber
It's a
prank.
30-year-long prank.
But I feel like if my younger brother did that to me, my first initial reaction would probably be like, punch him in the gut. Not in the head, because that would be too extreme. But if I think that would send a message.
Okay.
And that would probably resolve the issue.
No Florida joke there, Abigail?
Florida had nothing to do with that statement. I mean, I don't know. Well, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Well,
You're welcome.
I can't believe I have to know you forever.
Insane. And you're winning.
Are you kidding me? I wanted to be married. I'd already lost. You didn't love me as much as I loved you.
What does this have to do with LA?
You are so merged with your own selfishness, you don't even identify it as selfishness anymore. You are such a dick.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like if I could guarantee Henry would be okay. I hope you get an illness and hit by a car and die. But I do think that kind of prison sentence for just dumping water on somebody's head is too much.
I
It's
agree.
extreme.
I agree.
It's extreme.
The worst part about being in prison for this long is that you're going to miss all the great movies that are coming out for the rest of 2023. From Cocaine Bear to Dune Part 2, what are your most anticipated films coming up? Give me a top 5.
For me,
Yes.
it's probably got to be Hayao Miyazaki's new film, How Do You Live?
Yes.
Greta Gerwig's Barbie, Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. Let's say Dune Part 2,
Okay.
and let's say Michael Mann's Ferrari starring Adam Driver.
I thought it was Henry Cavill.
No.
No.
Sorry.
I don't know that I can give you a top 5, but I'd definitely say Dune 2, the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm very excited about that one. Guardians of the Galaxy, and I mean, if you haven't seen Puss in Boots yet, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, I think I'm just excited for whatever Marvel comes out with next.
Really?
Hopefully they're like still in space. Wherever they
They're
are,
stuck in the
wherever
quantum
they
realm
are
right
now, I hope they stay there.
Okay. I'm excited for The Flash. Even though it's been like marred in controversy, I've been hearing it's going to be one of the greatest like superhero films of all time. I think
Can
Indiana
we talk about The Flash?
Sure.
I feel like there's a lot to talk about there.
Sure.
Let's unpack that.
Please.
Did they recast
No.
The Flash? Okay.
Nope.
I guess that was my
In
only
fact,
question.
they reshot after all the controversies
Did they?
and robberies
Yeah, so what's fascinating about this
Yeah.
film is that it has
assaults.
2 different Batmans,
Sure.
and 2 different flashes. And by 2 different flashes, I mean just Ezra Miller twice.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're
They're
right.
in it twice.
Yeah.
Often
God.
at the same time on the same screen.
Wow.
Okay.
We're giving audiences more Ezra Miller
Interesting.
than ever.
And Michael Keaton's Batman.
I mean, but Michael Keaton's Batman.
Michael Keaton's Batman for the first time since like 1991.
Yeah.
And then we have Supergirl as well, I believe.
Yes, yes.
That's going to be pretty cool. Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny seems. I mean, we have, I believe, who's directing it again?
James Mangold.
James Mangold, who recently directed Logan and
Yes.
Ford vs. Ferrari, 2 phenomenal films. Super excited about that. Barbie, I can't wait for Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig, starring Margot Robbie and
Yes.
Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
It's going to be super exciting.
It's going to be incredible.
Mission Impossible, the last like 3 have been like incredible. Really, really good films. So that, and then Dune Part 2, I love the first one. It's like, you know, Greg Fraser is the cinematographer, Denis Villeneuve is the director. It's just it's like a perfect couplet.
Yeah. Let's hope for more Zendaya, right?
More, yeah, of
Always.
course. More Zendaya.
Could
Always need more Zendaya.
could the first
Never
one be
get enough.
sued for not having enough?
It could for false advertisement, like Suicide Squad in 2016.
Well, because there was that recent lawsuit where, you know the movie Yesterday, that movie about
The
the
Beatles,
Beatles
yeah,
songs
yeah,
not
with-
existing? I kind of live in a world where the movie Yesterday doesn't exist. It's called this one. Anyway, they showed Ana de Armas in the trailer, but she
and she wasn't in the
final
movie. She was in the
so-
James Corden's, like, yeah, I remember that.
So I think there was a lawsuit
It's
about
the only
that.
reason I watched the movie.
That's a shame.
Well, to wrap things up here, our producers have submitted a clip that none of us has watched. So let's just go ahead and watch it together.
And Sam straight ahead.
No.
I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Kind of iconic. It's a bold statement, but or not statement, but a bold choice, I would say. But you know, good for him.
Them.
Sorry, good for them. Snaps.
Definitely a choice.
I'm going to leave it at that. That's it for today's episode of 20-somethings TV. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Peace.